up dissolving the band, leaving the industry, and saying, I love music, I hate the music business. I'm not going to participate in this. It's everything I'm against. Music is my religion, and they're televangelists. They're just awful. So my drummer, who's been my best friend since I was 8 years old, would come and play with my baby, hang out in my apartment, and he couldn't stop looking at my 4-track, which was piling up with songs. They didn't care that I wasn't in the industry anymore. And so he finally said, can I listen? And put the headphones on with the baby on his lap, listen to everything that I had put down. And he said, let's just be a band that doesn't give a shit, because that's what we are. I said, well, that's an interesting experiment. And so we went back to Warner Brothers and 4AD and said, all right, we're still Throwing Muses. We're just a trio, and we don't give a shit, so don't tell us what to do anymore. And everybody said, all right, of all things. And those were our top-selling records, which is intriguing to me. And yet it doesn't sell me on the industry. I just think that we knew our way around the game for a while, and we had the money to spend to make it happen. So we had excellent years on the road, touring records we didn't disagree with and backing singles that didn't blow. And then we ran out of money and couldn't be on the road or in the studio any longer. So we had to stop working, which is not a breakup, but it is sort of a tragedy. And that's what cash music is supposed to be solving, that dumb equation that says you're supposed to blow, and you're supposed to be a bimbo, and you're supposed to think fashion shoots are okay. So becoming listener supported through cash has meant that if I presented my sponsors with a marketable product, they would reject it, which is just incredible to me. Like that's my religion proving itself right there. And now Throwing Muses is in the studio again, making, I swear, the best record of our career, because there's nobody telling us that we're supposed to suck. "40 songs is a long record, and people are allowed to hate us for making a record that's that long, but the songs aren't very long. They're little pieces, and they move in and out of each other, and a bridge will show up as a chorus in another song with a different melody, as an instrumental in another song. It's a messed up piece, but it's working so far. When Dave first heard my demos for it, he listened through and then said, "My mind is fractured too." I thought, crap. But what he meant was, this is the time for fracture, so let's see where it goes. And it's beautiful. I don't even think it'll hurt anybody's feelings. There are about 5 different sonic vocabularies we move throughout the piece, and I think they're definitely my favorites as far as the muses go. One is very big, and one is a little more jammy, and one is very tiny and atmospheric, and stuff like that. And I don't think it's so experimental that it will turn people off, because there's a lot of sweetness in the pieces. We realized early on that we were being kept from our fans. They were fans then. I don't like that word. I prefer listeners, or I don't like that kind of audience. I prefer the listening audience, the discerning listener. But we had fans then, and it was because we were marketed. Now, you can market anything, obviously, because most of what we all know to be popular culture has been marketed to us, not chosen by us. And we were obviously fooling people who wouldn't ordinarily like us into listening to us, because we were sold as the band of the month. And we could feel that at our shows. The shows weren't full of people who liked us or people we would like. And so it was fine with us that we were kept from our fans. We moved from dressing room to tour bus, to dressing room to tour bus, and we never really saw anybody unless we did an in-store at a record store, where we signed CDs for people, and that's where you see their faces, and that's where you can pick and choose among the people who say they like you, and you know some of them are lying, and some of them are going to be there for your next record. So that's when I began discussions with Warner Brothers, who would say, oh, we want to sell 250,000 records on this one, and I'd say, well, to whom? And they thought I was being snide or exclusive, but what I meant was, I don't want a lot of baseball caps at my shows yelling for the single. I don't want to expand my audience. I want to refine it. I want discerning music listeners, and if I'm playing in a tiny little rock club, I'm going to turn it into a church, because that's them turning it into a church. They let the music resonate, and then it's completed. You know, if I go broke doing this, at least I can die knowing that I did the right thing.